Yeah.
My favorite.
It's Judd's Hockey Show.
And welcome to Judd's Hockey Show. The bruised and battered and shorthanded Wild going into Buffalo on Saturday, getting a win, continue their 3-game road trip tonight against Toronto and then Montreal before they return home on Thursday. A lot to get to here, but before we do that, I wanted to thank and also welcome our newest partner, which is Victory Tire and Auto. At Victory Tire and Auto, they believe, ladies and gentlemen, in a very important thing, and that's relationships. Their goal is to serve customers for the long term with personalized, trustworthy, and consistent service. A family-owned business established right here in Minnesota in 1997. Victory has an industry-leading 5-year, 50,000-mile warranty on all new parts and labor. Schedule an appointment at any of their 20-plus Twin Cities area locations at victorytireandauto.com and tell them Sports Dad, that's right, the Sports Dad sent you for $25 off any oil change service. $25 off just by telling them about the Sports Dad. You also will get complimentary multi-point safety inspection with every service appointment. 22 locations in Minnesota, as well as if you're watching this in Wisconsin, you're a Vikings fan, you're a Wild fan, you're a Minnesota sports fan, as well as Eau Claire, Wisconsin, and St. Petersburg, Florida. Quality work, genuine care for all of life's miles at Victory Tire and Auto. And again, the website, victorytireandauto.com. All right, AJ, let's get to it. Wild 5-4 in Buffalo on Saturday. Overtime win, 4-on-3 power play goal. And, boy, so we wake up on Saturday and we know that Boldy's out. We know that Eriksson Ek is out. We know Brodin is out. We know Bogosian's out. And then we find out on the pregame show on Saturday that Marcus Johansson was left behind because he also, like the rest of them, has a lower body injury. Mm-hmm. And here's my takeaway from that game. My takeaway from that game is because they were without so many players and key players, I felt that for the most part, they did what they hadn't done against the Jets for sure and the Devils when they lost the 2 games at home. I felt they actually played within their structure enough because Buffalo had won 15 of 17. So, I mean, they've been a great team, but it felt like the Wild played within their structure way more because of the guys that they were missing and actually put together a game that I sort of liked.
Yeah, this is probably like a creature of circumstance where, like you're saying, they're missing so many guys that it's like we have to default to building blocks here. Well, the thing is, those building blocks are what make you a great hockey team. Mm-hmm. So relying on that and staying within that structure that John Hines and his coaching staff has set up, put them in an area where they found success. And you know, I'd hate watching this team and then they come away with a game where it's like they finished the game with 22 shots. Well, this past weekend, 35 shots on goal. You're just throwing the puck at the net. Crazy how that happens sometimes where you put the puck on net, you're more likely to score a goal. And granted, there's different variances and chances on things being higher quality versus not. But I felt like watching that game, they played a certain style that suits their personnel very well. And that's where credit to John Hines, they adjust, and credit to the guys that got called up in a very weird stint having to buy in. And and they played a pretty good game. There was a stint there, I want to say, was it late second, early third, where it felt like they really kind of let it slip away from. Buffalo scored, I think, 3 unanswered, but they found their game again. They forced OT, secured a point, which I was pretty satisfied with, and then you pick up the extra point in overtime, and off she goes up to Toronto. So
yeah, so and that's the thing too is and with or without the guys being hurt, I felt like, what they did on Saturday was a really good way for the most part to get out of a small slump. And look, if you're a good team, everyone's going to have the injury bug. It just happens. But if you're a good team, this is what you do. And you go back to if you're they definitely late in the last road trip in which they lost only 1 game in regulation, so they played pretty well. But late in that last road trip, something started to sort of disappear in how they were playing when they were the most effective. And then it certainly continued in that 3-game homestand, what they lost in overtime to the Islanders, then back-to-back 11 goals in 2 games against for the Devils and then the Jets. But if you are a good team, I think that you can go back to your fundamentals, like what you rely upon. And it felt like they did that. It's not necessarily pretty, which I don't care about, but it is effective. Um, and so this to me is a really good sign. And I guess to your point too, it's a compliment to John Hines, who evidently told the team pregame on Saturday, let's not worry about who's not here. We can win with who's here. Now let's go out and play. And that was a very mature 2 points.
Yeah.
Like that was a very mature 2 points. I think it fixes things ultimately? I have no idea. The team is in good shape. Now, the one thing that was happening as the Wild was scuffling a little bit was Dallas has been as well. They're
Mm-hmm.
2-6-2 in their last 10. They lost to a very good Tampa Bay team last night, so that they've lost 3 consecutive games. And so these teams are tied again now for second place with what 60 some 63 points apiece. Um, Here's the one thing I'm curious about too. Who starts in goal tonight?
That's a good question. That's a really good question. Who's been the better hockey team between Toronto and Canadians as of late? I feel like, given how things look, you're probably going to look at.
I've got that right here. Toronto is 7-1-2 in their past 10. And Montreal, which is actually in third place in the Atlantic, is 6-3-1. So they've both been playing pretty well.
Okay. Well, if I had to guess, they're going to go with Gus tonight. I think just the
I'd agree.
I don't know. Like, they're both really big stages. Like, I think you think of Toronto and you think of like this mecca of hockey, but Montreal in itself in the Bell Center is
More Mecca. Yeah.
more mecca, but also
Yeah.
arguably more raucous of a crowd, which is now talking me out of starting Gus tonight and saving him for tomorrow, just for the sake of the easier matchup. But at the same time, like, Austin Matthews has clearly turned a corner based on what we've seen most of the season from him. The past, I think, 10 games, he has been the superstar that Toronto has been missing all season long. And they're just looking like a better hockey team. But then Cole Caulfield on the other side of things with the Montreal Canadiens, they've been looking really well too. So I bet you they still probably go Gus tonight, just because I feel like if healthy,
Yep.
Jesper probably starts. But the mindset is probably going to be, we're missing all these guys. We're going to take as many points as we can get. We're going to steal as many points as we can. And so I think you have a better chance starting Gus and getting at least a point tonight rather than starting Jesper tonight and getting a point, and then it's a tougher matchup maybe tomorrow against Montreal. But I'm not necessarily worried. I don't think that's as much of an indictment against Jesper. I just think there is a little bit of hesitancy, at least for me, for the first period of him whenever he gets his next start. Based on the past 2 games, it definitely hasn't been great. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't know if Gus was all that great on Saturday either. Like, he's not this like stalwart that I'm like in my mind creating. I think the goaltending for both guys have dropped off recently, but considering that he's coming at least off an overtime win, that probably gives me a little more confidence in him right now.
Yeah, I guess I'm a little bit conflicted here because it was definitely an interesting move and it was a gamble, but I totally get it by Hines in the 2 back-to-back home games here against the Jets and the Devils, or the Devils and Jets, where he started Wallstedt in both games.
Mm-hmm.
And as we discussed last week, I think he was hoping to get, after the Devils game, which was just, I don't even fault Wallstedt for the majority of those goals. I thought they just played terrible. And then it went probably worse against the Jets. And there's a couple of questions here too. So number one, Wallstedt definitely was not good against the Jets for sure. But that being said, the entire team was not good.
Mm-hmm.
And so how much do you fault him directly for that? And then two is, and I think this is what they were trying to do when Winnipeg came to town, was two is you don't want his confidence to lag, because the simple fact is, to what you said about Gus, the simple fact is the goaltending for a month plus was phenomenal. Like, that's not how it's going to be all the time. And, there is always going to be regression. And that's what took place. But regression, one, doesn't mean that they can't get hot again, which they certainly can. And it also is dependent on if your team is going to hang you out to dry continually. Not every night can you, or not every week can you stand on your head. So to me, this also is not like Wallstedt was at fault here. Totally, he wasn't. But it's sort of a a confidence game for John Hines, right? Like he's trying to keep the confidence up, give his chance the best team to win. And so I sort of agree with you. I think because there was a break here, I think they'll come back with Gus tonight in Toronto. They'll probably play Volstead in Montreal. Then you get another day off, and then you've got that 8:30 start or something because it's an ESPN game against Detroit on Thursday, and Detroit's also playing well. So like, there's no break here. And then of course the question too is, does it begin to catch up to you that you're without again Johansson, Boldy, Eriksson, Ek, Brodin, and to a certain extent Bogosian? So there's a lot of moving parts here, and I think you said this last week, and it's probably true. During the stretch of games, if you can just come out with a point, I think you're going to feel pretty good. Like when you're this shorthanded, if you play a good hockey and you can get points, especially 1 point on the road, you're going to feel good. 2 points against the Sabres, you felt great. Hey, what was your takeaway on Kaprizov's game? So 3 assists. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Louis, who is the analyst on the strip for FanDuel, I think he said that Kaprizov didn't have a shot through 2 periods again, though.
Correct.
So like, I'm conflicted here. He played well in the fact that he had 3 assists, which I think is great. And the assist to Zuccarello, which I want to talk about in 1 second, that's fantastic. But all of that being said, he had 7 shots on goal. I think it was against the Islanders. And then it's gone down since then. I don't want him not shooting the puck.
This is going to sound, after a 3-point performance, like the most unearthly complaint, like the most, wow, my steak is too juicy, my beer is too crisp and cold type of complaint ever. But despite the 3 points, it wasn't an impressive 3-point performance. Like, he still influenced the game as he should. He's still Kirill Kaprizov. He still helped like the team obviously pick up 2 points. But I was waiting for that takeover. I was waiting for that superstar shift where it's like, yes, this guy is controlling and demanding the game. And it really just never came. He played a very elite, like, complementary role the entire game. But like you said, 0 shots for the first 2 periods. I believe he ended the game with 2 shots on goal. That's simply not acceptable for a guy of his caliber, a guy with as good of shooting talent as he does. Finishing the game with anything less than 3 is, I think, the main issue, just because he is going to be, I mean, he should be averaging a shot a period, simply. There's no way around that. You should be finding the net in one way or another. But 3 assists, I think it was the, what do we do? Friday night show, the emergency podcast with Jesse. If you haven't watched it yet, go check it out on the brand new Judd's Hockey Show YouTube channel. Make sure to like and subscribe. But I think I said I need 3 points against the Sabres because they're still the Buffalo Sabres. So like, that's the one thing holding me back here. Like, that is, he rose to the expectation, but he did so by the thinnest of hairs. I think what we were texting about during the game too, which is when you watch his game, and this will be interesting come Thursday when they're back home, because that'll be the next time that I think I can get my eyes on him. The skating, I think, is different than what we normally expect. He doesn't look like he is doing the same sort of edging and carving, and the strides, maybe they're not as powerful. He's not moving as much. And maybe that's just he's trying to preserve his game more this season. Coming off of a long injury stint last year, it's like we want to keep you as bubble wrapped and contained as possible, so you're there for all 82. Or maybe he's just looking to maybe something's nagging him, like we found out with Boldy out of the blue. Hey, he was hurt. Maybe something's nagging him, and it's like, let's just get to this Olympic break, because being a Russian, he gets 3 weeks off where he can relax and recover. Mm-hmm. I don't want to be too harsh on him right now, but it is something I've noticed where I'm just expecting and I'm missing those shifts where this guy is superstar caliber. He's taking over the game, and I don't think has done that in the past 2 weeks now. Maybe I don't know. Maybe correct me if I'm wrong, true. But about 2 weeks that I've missed that sort of shift.
And among the things I saw watching the game on Saturday was it's also clear, and yeah, we did text about the fact the edging doesn't look the same. Like that dude used to operate in a phone booth, and he's definitely not consistently like that now. And again, to your point, I don't know exactly why. The other thing that I noticed as well, and I think it was on the power play especially, is he and Quinn Hughes. Um, Kaprizov, in my opinion, is deferring a lot. Because Quentin Hughes is doing what Kirill used to do, right?
Yeah.
Which is he's handling the puck a ton, which, by the way, he's very good at. But the reality is, it feels like Kaprizov is looking for sort of his place there then, because Quentin Hughes is quarterbacking things, and previously before Hughes, Kaprizov didn't quarterback things, but if you wanted to play that role for a portion of the power play, he definitely could. And so I think that there is also a chemistry thing there, which, will take time. For what he should bring on the power play consistently, I think he's trying to sort of find his place. And Quinn Hughes has the quarterback label. So I just saw him on the power play. Kaprizov sort of like looking for his spot as opposed to just give me the damn puck. And I think there's a happy medium to be reached here. I guess my question is that going to take the rest of the season? Is that something that's a training camp thing? Because Quinn Hughes being introduced to the power play is a magnificent thing, but it definitely, especially for another great player, it definitely alters and changes roles. And Kaprizov's not a selfish player, as far as I can tell, at all.
Yeah.
So that's the thing is, I'm wondering, like, does this find because if that power play finds its itself consistently, in the playoffs, you don't get a ton of power plays there, but it could be incredibly effective. So I am curious if you watch it on Thursday, do they begin to sort of find where each of them belongs? Because when you watch Hughes age, he he has a rhythm to him. Like there's
Yeah.
a rhythm there. There's a purpose to what he's doing, but it's at such a high level that I think everybody else is trying to sort of at times figure things out, and Kaprizov is probably atop that list of guys trying to figure things out.
Yeah, in 1 for 4 on the power play on Saturday. One of the key things that I think I was watching and looking for that I just never, and this even goes back to who they play the Jets game on Thursday. They had it where, because of Matt Boldy being out, Kaprizov sets up on that offhanded wing side.
Yep.
Pretty much the mirror opposite of Ovechkin in his office, where frankly I would love and I expect a guy like Kirill Kaprizov to get set up if Matt Boldy's not there. Uh, they didn't feed him like it should be the most point blank and shoving it in your face. Hey, we're gonna do this whether you can stop it or not. We're going to just feed this guy the puck. And granted, with Quinn Hughes at the top, like running it, it creates more options. It gives them a little more of a dynamic look on the power play and creative expression. But for the most part, I was expecting, okay, every single time after like 4 or 5 passes, if the shooting lane is not there or the passing lane you're looking for is not there, it's as simple as Zuccarello should go back to the top. Quinn Hughes feeds Kirill Kaprizov right in his wheelhouse, and he lets one rip. But they're not doing that enough. Like he should be teeing off on three chances every single power play, and it's like maybe he gets one. And granted, there's times where on Thursday I think they looked for it, and then the pass was either like maybe a little too hot for him to let rip, or it was like in his skates and he had to adjust. But this should not be as hard to get a top 10, 15 player in the league like one-time chances on the power play. You don't have to make Mats Zuccarello the pass across the slot, the high danger, it looks flashy. You have a superstar defenseman running the power play 5 feet, off your right-hand shoulder. Just give him the simple pass there and he'll work it over. You have to trust him to be able to get it to your best friend for that scoring opportunity.
Speaking of trust, I want you to trust Sports Dad. When I tell you, if you think you can't stay, dine, and unwind all in one place, have I got news for you, because at Mystic Lake, it all starts on the floor. Feel the rush of the table games, which is great. The hot slots. Catch an unforgettable night with the stars in the Mystic Showroom. Head to the Hop House, where we did a Purple Daily Unplugged a couple of weeks ago, which was great. Great place to watch sports. Great place to eat. Enjoy some wings. Enjoy some beer, and then also, you can, stay there in their hotel and take a moment for yourself at the spa before you go up to your room. Yes, that's right. Mystic Lake is the place to go because it has everything that you could possibly want. Book your getaway now at mysticlake.com. That's mysticlake.com. How much did you love the fact that Marcus Foligno, and to a certain degree, Brock Faber, when the Sabres were trying to abuse Quinn Hughes, said, "Oh no, that's not going to happen." And here's why I loved it. I've seen Wild teams that haven't done that, and it drives me crazy. It's like, this guy's one of your superstars, okay? Protect him. Protect him at all costs. And the Buffalo first goal on which Kesselring sort of mugged Hughes, and it was a very odd play because it was probably a penalty and shouldn't have been a goal, but that's beside the point. The point is, Foligno coming to Hughes' defense. Say what you will about fighting. Some people like it, some people don't. I thought that was a fantastic sign to see that there was like no thought given to it, that when Quinn Hughes, if you're going to abuse Quinn Hughes, we're going to push back.
My only question about that is, where has that been for your other superstar the past couple of seasons?
Yeah.
This, like, just having Quinn Hughes here and having the weird thing of, well, he's now super uncertain about if he's going to be here past his current contract. Is he going to get moved or whatever? There should not be trying to like buddy up to him. Like, this should be the standard for your better players on the team. I thought it was great. I mean, the Kesselring thing was weird because he gets tied up, and then on the replay they had an angle. If you're watching on YouTube, it's kind of like this, where my microphone is like in the corner, and that's the referee's head, and he's just kind of looking at this UFC fight with Michael Kesselring and like a scissor lock on Quinn Hughes, and then nothing happens out of that, and they score. So it's like, whatever. It's one of those weird hockey plays. But then in that, I'm glad the mentality from Foligno didn't go from, okay, they got us for roughing, we're going to go to the box, and that just like de-escalates things. You come out, you're answering the bell, and Marcus Foligno, like, yes, to your point of some people don't like it, some people do. Marcus Foligno, I think, unites both sides of that because he is such a classy enforcer type of guy where he took down Kesselring, and before I think his head even hit the ice, he got him in the like back of the head, like hug, protection.
He did.
Whereas I think a lot of guys, maybe some of the new age enforcer / thug type of guys, they don't take that into account. So he's about as classy in that area as they come. But we have seen Kirill Kaprizov, I think, take countless cross checks to the lower back over the past 2-3 seasons, and sometimes they do answer, sometimes they don't. But for the most time, I think it's the latter there, where they kind of just say, oh, you're just gonna have to take it. Where is this like energy the entire time? I do appreciate them throwing that out caution out the window here, because the most Minnesota Wild thing would have been, okay, Marcus Foligno drops the gloves and he hurts his hand on the guy's helmet.
Yeah, it's true.
And then he's out, and then they're down yet another player. But I like it. Going back to, I think it was Yurov jumped somebody earlier in the season when they ran. I think
Seattle.
Yep.
The Zuccarello play.
Yep, Zuccarello. And then, I mean, there's been a few instances of it this season. Was there a Mammoth player that did something? I can't remember off the top of my head, but it feels like there has been more instances I've seen of Wild players stepping up for like one another this season than I think all of last season. And one, that shows me the locker room's tight. Two, these guys are willing to buy in, and kind of that's the culture that I think that Bill Guerin has been trying to establish. It shouldn't be that hard. It's the NHL, like the fact that you want to protect your teammates, that's whatever.
Especially your star players.
But yeah, I like it. I like the energy. I like them coming to defense of one another, and I want that to continue. So I think that was a great sight to see.
So let's quickly talk about the OT goal because it was the second time in a couple of weeks. If you recall, Zuccarello was set up by Kaprizov on a 3-on-3 goal in Seattle,
Mhm.
and now this one was a 4-on-3 because of a power play in what was a very hard to understand what was a penalty and what was not day in Buffalo. But you know what's funny about it? I thought if those two could just play 3-on-3, they'd be fine. Like the pat like that goal doesn't happen 5-on-5. I don't think. Um and it's it's a case of where trying to be too cute works, and shout out to Gustafson, just a hell of an alert play because he's the one, the power play was almost done for the Wild, and Gustafson, the puck gets cleared and Gus comes up and gets it right up the ice to Kaprizov, who feeds Zuccarello. But those goals are so pretty and those passes are so crisp. But when you're trying to get them through 5-on-5, it is really, really hard. 4-on-3, absolutely. 3-on-3, a lot of ice there. I just thought it was funny because it's like this is what they're trying to do all the time. And I don't think they understand that as good as they might be, and yes, it works at times 5-on-5, but there's not enough ice. There's too many bodies to accomplish it. But when it does get accomplished, especially 3-on-3 or 4-on-3, it looks damn good.
Yeah, that was really that was a heads up play won by Gustafson to keep that in line, because
Oh, yeah.
as soon as that puck gets cleared for like the final 10 seconds, I'm sure Buffalo's thinking, okay, we're getting to even strength, 4-on-4.
Yep.
Bowen Byram and former Minnesota Wild winger Jordan Greenway, bad change by them, because Owen Power and Alex Tuck come off the bench, and then it's this shocking, right? It's this immediate like, okay, we see this stretch pass from the netminder, we have to get into position, and they both clearly don't communicate because they both drift so early to the middle, and it leaves a very wide open backdoor lane for Zuccarello to kind of slide into, and that was a great pass by Kaprizov. So in that,
Yeah.
it's a great play, but you're exactly right. That with 10 guys on the ice, 10 skaters on the ice, that doesn't happen. Like you need an odd man.
But
rush.
he tries it.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
That's the thing, is they try it. It just doesn't work.
So does that? Are we at a point then where if people are healthy and everybody is all set to go, that you are fully out on the top line winging pair of Zuccarello and Kaprizov? Like, would you want Boldy up there? Would you want Johansson, or potentially a future trade acquisition, Panarin, whoever?
Oh, yeah. If you made a trade, yes. Yes.
Okay.
My problem is, and we'll see because they're all out right now. We'll see how it goes when they all come back. My problem is that the Eriksson Ek Boldy Johansson line was so good that I feel like you don't want to break that up. Now they're coming back. They're going to come back from injury, so it could totally change. And that I do like playing Boldy and Kaprizov in high leverage situations together.
Yeah.
And if you made a trade, yes, I probably would. And the thing was with Mats and Kirill is it doesn't mean that they can never play together again. It feels like they need timeouts. It feels like they're kids that need timeouts. And
it's a rom-com. They got to experience time apart so they can appreciate the time together.
And 3-on-3, they're fantastic. Like, yeah, go kill it, guys. You got open ice. But yeah, it was. I just thought it was funny because it's like those two games, the Kraken game and then the game on Saturday, both ended with Zuccarello goals from Kaprizov that were great passes, great plays, and then you're like, oh, but there's a reason why. Hey, before we go, tell the people again about the new Judd's Hockey Show channel, would you, Age?
Yeah, if you're watching right now, you're already here. Just click on that subscribe button if you haven't yet. All of our Judd's Hockey Show content will be posted here moving forward. We've annexed from the Score North YouTube channel to create this brand new opportunity here on the Judd's Hockey Show YouTube channel, so make sure you follow along. And if you're listening audio, you haven't checked us out, maybe you have zero clue what we look like, well, there's no better time to do that by opening up YouTube, going to the Judd's Hockey Show YouTube channel, and clicking subscribe.
Awesome. All right, we will be back tomorrow talking about the Wild game on Monday night against the Maple Leafs in Toronto, and then, of course, on Wednesday with Jesse Pierce. And Chris Peters will join us then because the Wild's affiliate, the Iowa Wild, is going to have a game, actually, in the Hockey Day in Minnesota I was going to say at Minnesota. I don't know why. Festivities in Hastings. And so Chris is very up to date on the prospects, and we will get a review of the Wild AHL team, the farm system, and I'm sure plenty of other topics as well. I'm Judd. He's AJ. Thanks for watching or listening, and we'll see you later.